Now we've got he who watches. We can begin there.
There? Oh, there. we go.
How does that work? Can you comment at either one? Or do you only get?
I don't know. I was wondering about that. I think it's at our discretion. It's a continuation, so it's technically, if you've already commented, it's the same hearing, but. Okay, it is 6:30. I will call the meeting back to order. Let the record show all three commissioners are present. This is a continuation of the 6-year road hearing that began this afternoon at 1:30-ish. So we are going to start with a staff review, brief, and then we will take public testimony. Gordon, go ahead.
Okay. Staff report starts. It's the required by the state that counties revise and update their 6-year transportation plan on an annual basis. 6-year plan is a planning document that helps counties identify and prioritize projects to address those needs. Not all the projects on the 6-year plan are completed in 6 years. Lots of things can affect that. Some of the factors are just budget, having enough revenue to cover those expenses. Need to add emergency or emergent projects that show up, such as slide repair or washouts, those kinds of things. Delay in obtaining permits and right-of-way can push projects back, as well as grant deadline changes or changes in funding period. We try to use the county dollars, the road fund dollars, to match and leverage grant dollars to fund them. In 2022, the county revenues available for construction is about typically 1.5 million. In 2022, it's higher than that, but on a normal year, that's the amount. Of that 1.5 million, 500,000 represents landfill revenue currently. Grant funding helps to support many of our projects and the needs that the county has. In past years, we were able to double the county road fund expenditures with grant dollars, as well as the landfill revenue. So in the past 12 years, we have received about $26.1 million in grants, using $27.3 million in countywide funds to leverage those dollars, for a total of $53.4 million available for construction projects. However, there's fewer grants these days, and often our reimbursements are delayed, which means we have to carry those expenses, can be up and has been up to 2 years following the completion of construction. So how do we select projects for the 6-year plan? So we look at collision history from past records. We want to make sure we have a good road network that connects the rest of our facilities and provides adequate transportation in case of emergencies, fires, flooding, winter storms, and those kinds of things that kind of block escape routes. So more than one way in and out. We look at pavement condition, maintenance considerations. Is there grant dollars available for specialized programs such as school zones or improvements to pedestrian safety, school bus routes, input from citizens, development pressures, and various other aspects. The highlights of this year's plan include completion of an asphalt surface on the portion of Old Mountain Road that was reconstructed in 2021, this past summer. Courtney Road reconstruction and overlay project, which has been worked on for many years in the design and planning phase. Old Highway 8 bridge at Rock Creek. We have a bridge painter on a bridge that's about almost 80 years old. We have some county safety programs at various locations, and design work on other projects on future years of the 6-year plan. In 2022, breakdown for the funding is as follows. We have a total of $8,375,000 program. And it's broken down, 807,000 are federal funds, 3,728,000 of that are state funds, $500,000 in landfill funds, and $3,340,000 in road funds. And that concludes the staff report.
Okay, thank you. I will now open the public hearing for the purpose of taking public testimony. I am going to try to limit, if possible, or not if possible, 3 minutes is public testimony. It's been a long day. Sorry, and I'm going to start. We did have a sign-up sheet in
I
chambers.
didn't know we passed it out. Craig's here for the Water Conservancy and we just have
Upstairs.
one gentleman.
Okay, so do you want to go
Oh,
first, sir?
signed in.
It's already
I didn't even
submitted.
see that he did it.
Thank you. We have several people online. Mr. Singer, do you wish to provide public testimony?
I do. I appreciate the opportunity to be before the commission again. I think this is about my 4th or 5th time to talk about Linook Road. Each time I come before the commission, I'm getting supportive comments, and perhaps even alternatives. As you may know, Linook Road improvement has been on the long-term plan for quite some time. When we purchased the property almost 9 years ago, it was on the plan. The real estate attorney who bought the property was an advocate and was on the road commission. I believe it was 3 years ago, perhaps even 4 years ago. There was a hearings as to whether to proceed, and there was some community feedback from people on the street concerned about giving up right of way in order to expand the road, and concerned that by improving the road, we would encourage more traffic on the road. And it was determined, my understanding is, why build it if not everybody wants it? As you may remember, I have a vineyard. In the time since I testified last, we've completed the build out of the vineyard. Had some interesting visitors. Woodinville, the planning department and the tourism department came down and did their whole video on how wine is made in Washington. All the agriculture portions were filmed on our property because they couldn't find a better looking vineyard in Washington to do it at. We've also talked about the Title 12 Commission as an alternative to building out the road to allow us to bring people on the property for retail operations and event management. I did have the opportunity to travel to Spokane County to meet with a number of farmers in Spokane Valley who had a very similar situation as us. They have Coeur d'Alene right across the border where it brings all the tourists from Seattle from Spokane. They pass right through the valley and don't stop for any agritourism. Their county commission also had an equivalent of our Title 12, except instead of people like Bell Design and engineers on it, it was all the farmers who were trying to make things happen. As a result, they both built out road access as well as made exemptions for tourism. I was just up there in October. The apple farmers, the pumpkin farmers now have hundreds of people who come on board because of exceptions that were made for the seasonal work, exceptions to the AASHTO standards, exceptions to the engineering standards. And the commissioners, there's actually a commissioner who came from the industry who is very, very active and negotiated for both construction as well as exceptions. And I'd like to ask again, we don't show up on this 6-year plan. It was suggested that I hire a highway engineer. I actually agreed to try to do that. And before I found there was a huge paucity of them in the Pacific Northwest. And the closest one I could find was an engineer who worked for me in the state of Georgia. And it would be exceptionally expensive. So I would ask you to add a planning and design consideration, not construction, so that we can see what alternatives there might be for improvement to Linook Road besides the full
Thank you, Mr. Singer. Okay, I'm going to go to Zoom now and invite public testimony on the 6-year plan. Please unmute. I see
7211.
7211. You have unmuted yourself. Could we have your name, please, sir or ma'am?
Greg Wagner with Cease.
Okay.
Oak Ridge Road should not be upgraded. Oak Ridge Road is fine for its current use. Upgrading will be at the expense of the citizens of Klickitat County for the benefit of the Under Canvas Corporation. The citizens should not pay for this. If this upgrade is approved, it should be funded 100% by Under Canvas. No upgrade is currently needed for the citizens living there. They do not want it. Remove this upgrade from the 6-year plan. Thank you.
Mr. Wagner. Okay. Next, okay, yes. Mr. and Mrs. Tyndall, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. We just wanted to reiterate what the gentleman previously stated, that reconstruction of our 2-mile unpaved section of Oak Ridge Road, which is scheduled, we believe, in the county's plan for 2026, should remain planned for 2026. The current condition is perfectly adequate for the needs of the local traffic. And we also think that to bring that improvement project up would be paid for by the taxpayers for a private commercial interest. And we would like to just request that that remain in the plan for 2026.
Go ahead.
Thank you for your testimony. I just wanted to point out that it used to be on the 2026 first proposed construction plan. It's now on 2027 proposed construction plan. So it's being pushed out.
Thank you for the correction. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, we're taking public testimony. Unmute yourself or raise your hand if you're in the Zoom. Steve Hawkins, go ahead.
Hi there. Thank you for giving us some time here. I'll be as brief as possible. So we're asking for some help on a section of road between Big Buck Creek Road intersection with Nestor Peak Road and the private Buck Creek Road that's north of that, about 2,100 feet. That intersects with Nestor Peak Road there. I'm sure Jacob knows the area well. He flies over it all the time. We're down in a valley. The issues we've had is a vast increase in traffic I've had this property for 25 years, have a small cabin there that I'm adding to, but we've had a vast increase in traffic over the last, even 5 or 6 years. Much of it is bikers going up to use the trail system, which is great, but there is a lot of people from out of town, out of the county, Oregon, because the bike shop sent them over here. And it's a pretty well-known trail system. Also, we have hunters and campers that go up there. DNRs improve the campgrounds, brought in new porta potties and whatnot. Also, there's more growth. It's small at this point, but it is continuing. There are actually 7 homes on or beyond the intersection of Nestor Peak Road and Buck Creek, the private Buck Creek Road. And there's at least 2 more in the works. And I've heard that that there's going to be an application probably within 5 years or even less for some more development. We have a huge amount of logging that's done up in the high areas up there between here and the Little White Salmon Valley. And this year we've had hundreds of truckloads come down. And because of the fact that we're in this valley during the summer months, a lot of that dust just hangs in the air. And the county, I give them credit, they've actually done a good job of trying to put gravel on it. And in fact, I called and they laughed at me because I said, please don't gravel the road, because we've been trying to do a dust abatement with county approved product. It's a wood derivative, most of it. for the last several years. We've spent several thousands of dollars trying to get that dust down, but the trucks and the speed at which bikers seem to need to get to their bike trails still churns it up so bad that after a few months, we're back to pretty dusty situation. And then DNR, the trucks that DNR bring down, they are obviously they're big, they're heavy. And so we've got a mess now, more potholes and whatnot. So we're just wondering, we send in the paperwork. I think you guys have it. We have a number of people. We also have a huge community garden on this section of road and a large shop that is used. In fact, there's 4 or 5 people working right now. We're trying to quiet them down. So this is a highly used area, a lot of people, and the traffic is just getting worse and worse and worse. So we'd really like to.
Mr. Hodge, I'm going to stop you for a second, but given that we don't actually have that many people testifying tonight, I think we can extend the time, and I'll get you some more time, Mr. Singer, if you wish. Just, it's not, it's an evening meeting. People have made the effort to come out and testify. I don't really feel like we should be held to the, being as brief as we have, considering the number of people. So go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, I've been trying to cram all this into 3 minutes, so I'll slow down just a little bit. But basically, we have made efforts to mitigate the dust, but it's just not working because of the volume of traffic. And there are a lot of people that use this area that, like I said, we have a huge community garden, dozens and dozens of people work in this garden in the summer and reap the harvest in the fall. And then there's a large shop here also on this section of Nestor Peak Road. So we're trying to find out, I just became aware of this, like I missed last year, but not more than a year ago, of this system. So I'm going to ask what someone, I was iPhone H this afternoon and I couldn't get my speaker to work. So I apologize for that, but I don't know what was going on. So we're on a laptop now. But in any event, are we putting in a request for a specific thing to happen, or are we just getting our name on for the county to do an assessment of what needs to be happening, or how is that working?
Typically, you are you're putting in the request for the specific action. It will be at the board will entertain that as we put together the 6-year plan going forward, and whether or not the project gets added or not will be at the board's discretion.
Okay. All right. Well, our goal is obviously to get either chip seal or pavement for this section. And we understand it could be quite a long process. So, we're all tuned into that, but we thought we might as well start the process because there's not going to be less use of this road. It's going to get more and more and more. So,
Gordy, do we have a base under that, or is it just the rock? And that's why they're getting the potholes like they do. Right?
Yeah.
There's no.
So you couldn't chip seal it or asphalting it without redoing it and redoing the whole base?
Yeah.
right. Yeah. The potholes have, I think a lot of that has been created because of the number of logging trucks. We do normally get potholes, but it seems like they're worse this year. We did actually have some success with the dust mitigation product that we used for a while. But putting more gravel on top of that just ruins it. So that's why I called the county road department, said, could you please not come and grade the road at all? Just leave it until the wet season, because it was working, and it worked last summer too. But then we redid it about 3 months after the first dose. And again, it lasted for a while. It's just the amount of traffic and the heavy trucks have just really churned up that road, and now it's a mess. So that's where we're at.
A staff question, when we're figuring asphalt or chip seal at $1 million a mile, is that including doing base road repair as part of that $1 million a mile?
Yes.
Building the road?
Yeah, so most of the cost, $1 million is the base, build an adequate base, and then you cap it, it's 150,000. It's the small part of the whole project cost,
You gotta buy right away too. A lot
Yeah.
of times we don't have right away.
especially on these type of roads.
Yeah, chances are we probably don't.
So the first thing it would be is if it went on, it would be on as a design,
Yes.
Yeah.
is what they're asking for. I think that would be what they're trying to say they're asking for.
Okay, I am going to continue public comment. Do you want to take your extra time now, or do you want to wait till the end?
I'll wait till the end.
Okay. I'm going to go.
Anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we are open for public comment on the 6-year road plan. Please unmute yourself, *6 if you're on a phone. Raise your hand if you're on Zoom.
I had 4098 that was unmuted a bit ago.
Back where 1064 is.
1064 has unmuted. Can you identify yourself, please? Phone number ending in 1064, you're unmuted. If you wish to provide testimony. Okay. Is there someone? No?
Can you, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, hi. I hope you can hear me okay now.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. My name is Colleen Kraus. I live on Ridgeview Road, adjacent to Oak Ridge Road. And I just want to add my voice to the previous two that spoke earlier about the 6-year road plan and the effects of Oak Ridge Road. So really want to concur with them that we don't feel that any additional work needs to be made until it's planned in 2027. And I thank you for your time this night, for letting us have the opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. Can I get your last name again? I didn't get it fast enough, sorry.
Yeah, it's Kraus, Kraus.
Great, thank you.
Perfect, thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
other citizen comments? 4098, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, this is Dennis White. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hang on, I'm going downstairs here so I can get away from my computer. There's always an interference. Okay, so listening in on today's earlier session on the 6-year road plan, I believe Commissioner Christopher said a road improvement project appearing on the current 6-year road plan could be moved up if the situation required it. Is that correct? Did I hear that?
Well, anything can move up or move back, depending on if the
Okay.
situation required it. Oak Ridge Road has
Okay.
been on for the last couple of years and keeps getting pushed off, not pushed forward.
Yeah. Well, I'm just asking the question.
Yes.
As I understand from listening to today's earlier session, Commissioner Christopher said that it could be moved up if a situation required it. We don't know what that situation might be this evening, but it could occur. Is that correct?
Yeah, and this is Commissioner Christopher, so I would say if there was a landslide wiping out half the road, yeah, it could get moved up in my mind. Barring a
Okay, well-
landslide, probably not in my mind.
Well, we don't anticipate a landslide here, but you never know. All right, so I'll continue here. So regarding the under canvas issue as it relates to safety of Oak Ridge Road, I believe at the SEPA hearing before the hearings examiner, the county and under canvas were in accord that the unpaved segment of Oak Ridge Road, with minor exceptions, is in its current condition adequately safe to handle the expected increase in under canvas generated traffic. So I have two questions. One, is it the opinion of the Board of County Commissioners that the mutual safety accord that I just mentioned precludes moving up improvements to the unpaved section of Oak Ridge Road currently scheduled for, we had a new number I learned tonight, 2027.
Are you looking for an answer, Mr. White?
Yes, I am.
Oh, in real time.
I would be calling you.
As far as precludes, I don't know. I mean, I would just say that I am I can think of only one instance since I've been here where we moved a project up, and it was in Wishram because the road slid off the side of the hill over the school. And so I don't see any circumstance short of some sort of natural occurrence that would move a project up on the list.
Okay, so there's a close relationship between road safety and improvements, right? So the county government under canvas concluded mutually that the unpaved section was adequate to handle under canvas expected under canvas generated traffic. So I'm just saying that that wouldn't preclude moving up improvements to Oak Ridge Road. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
I would say they wouldn't be connected to each other. If the road is deemed to be adequate for the additional because of the project, then it's adequate, and there would be no justification to do road improvements based on that project. If the project was creating a thing, then it would be responsible for paying for it, and that was not determined, as I believe that's what the record shows.
Okay. Okay.
I
No,
think my long
thank you.
answer is no, or yes, I guess, other than I don't really like the term preclude because it makes it's absolutely concrete. And there could be a circumstance, again, a slide, something that,
Even a slide though, that would be an emergency.
That would be an
so that
emergency
You could all
route.
get home. That's
Well,
not.
that's what I said, I never rule anything out because there might be an act of God.
Yeah.
But because of this road and its location and the under canvas project, for me, it would need to be an act of God.
Okay, well, that's assuring. All right, my second question: to what extent can Public Works unilaterally decide to make road improvements not appearing on the 6-year road plan? I guess I'm referring to a cost threshold, maybe, for what?
Good question.
Gordy?
We do maintenance.
Right.
So we would do maintenance, from light to heavier maintenance, but a reconstruction or we
Oiling
can't,
or
it has to be on the plan.
pavement or anything.
Well, first you have to design it. And in order to get the money to do the designing, that has to be on the plan.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so you don't just go out and build a road. It's a multi-year process and it's very thought out and planned. And for the record, for everybody knows, the speed at which we had previously been able to build new roads is going to go down over the next few years due to funding. So what's on at 2026 that we would usually expect? Things, when we went into this preliminary design for the 6-year road plan, things got pushed out, 4 years plus? And a lot of stuff dropped off. And that's what we're expecting to see probably in the next few years, based on funding availability.
I would agree with that. Based on where our budget's at and where we're forecasting future budgets, about half of what has been gotten done will get done. So I don't see even 2027 being a possibility, so.
Okay, so let me understand what you just said. So Public Works then cannot unilaterally decide to make road improvements that involve reconstruction not appearing on the 6-year road plan. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, could you define reconstruction for me?
No, it would be, again, they can do maintenance without up to, I suppose, heavy maintenance, but there is some, I guess, industry standards around what that is. If you're I wish you would just ask the question, sir, which is, can the road department, can Public Works arbitrarily decide to do a big improvement on Oak Ridge Road? Is that really what you're asking, sir?
Well, I guess you'd have to define big. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. The reason I'm asking is I think I remember from the hearing that Jeff Hunter indicated that they could, put some additional gravel on sections of the road that were deemed finally by under canvas and the county to be less than 20 feet in width. They could put a few loads of gravel, and that might extend the width of the road for about 300 feet, I believe they said. So I guess that's what that's my question, what constitutes reconstruction? And to what extent can Public Works unilaterally decide to make improvements?
Okay, I'm gonna give Public Works an opportunity to respond to that, and then we're gonna move on, because this isn't a hearing about under canvas. It is about the 6-year road plan, is what it is. So go ahead.
Yeah, so reconstruction is generally considered that you change the profile of the road more than 50%. So you're raising or lowering or changing the profile of a section of road pretty drastically. It's not minor widening, spot graveling, or graveling a whole section of road. It's reconstructing, drastically modifying that profile of the road.
We heard earlier about potentially, some roads having pullouts for safety. Would that be considered reconstruction, or would that be
No.
considered heavy maintenance?
That's just minor improvements.
Okay, minor. All right, thank you.
And one quick thing,
Right.
to cover under canvas stuff, the developer pays for it. And it's minor. We don't put it on the 6-year because it's not county dollars expended. Because the developers improve roads all the time. It's part of their development.
Sure. Okay. Did you have any other comments, Mr. White, before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, sir.
okay. I'm gonna go back to Zoom for public comment.
106 spoke already.
Yes, yes, and so did. Or Zoom, and it is Mr. White.
Yeah, we can remute those two.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute them.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else wishing to provide public comment? Unmute yourself, raise your hand. Not seeing anybody, so I will give Mr. Singer the balance of his time.
Thank you very much for letting me extend my remarks. The only thing I'd like to add is, I didn't really talk about the safety reasons to do the improvement of Window Road, because those were already staffed and recommended by the staff a couple of years ago. We have a curve that's less than 15 feet in width. The entire first section is less than 20 feet in width. We've had more children and people move onto the road. There are significant safety issues. I believe originally the only consideration was reconstruction and base widening, buying additional right of way. What we really need is improvement for safety, and that's really what we're looking for, design work, and pull outs may very well allow vehicles to pass. They may not, but under 12, I think we're close to 12 feet, and it's over a waterway that can flood at the 12 feet section. And so I didn't spend the time talking about the need to do it, but the need is pretty obvious to any for ASHA standards or for any safety assessment. The fire department, volunteer fire department concurs with that. So since I didn't really suggest the reasons why, I just suggested that it be reconsidered. I thought that I appreciate the opportunity to extend my remarks and remind the commission about the safety issues.
Okay, thank you.
Question, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Ballpark, how many people live on your road?
So when we first moved there,
I won't tell you to, you can throw a number.
I would say there's probably about 100 people, including children.
Oh, wow, okay. Number of
Maybe
cars
7.
per day going down the road that you would guess off the top of your head?
You guys have an idea?
We have a count, I don't know right now.
We ran the strip.
Yeah, we
a couple
did
of
it
years
I don't
ago.
know what it is.
It's different during farming and harvest season. We have significantly more traffic than in the winter.
Yeah.
15 landowners there, Rob?
Yeah, so it's maybe closer to 70 people.
A follow-up for me as well. So your vision, I think I asked before, where is it at? Is it at the end of the road?
No, so
Yeah,
the reconstruction that was in the plan is only at the beginning half of the road. So it only goes up, frankly, to the end of our property.
Yeah.
That's the part you need, but I think originally someone planned to do the whole road.
No, I think the original plan was only up to the end of ours, to that curve at the end of our property. Yeah,
Okay,
I believe.
We have to look at it. Yeah.
Okay,
It's where the narrows are.
right, right at the
Because it
bottom
gets
part
really
there.
narrow in the back end.
Because it gets really narrow in the back end, but there's houses get far less.
Right.
Because there was a bed and breakfast in the back, correct?
The vineyard.
Yes.
Yeah, with the
vineyard at the back.
The end of the road. I used to work in that.
Set up right
Yeah,
there.
that's why I was asking. I've not been up there. I traveled Winnock Road a lot when I was in my early twenties.
And then we built a vineyard. We produced quite a few more tons than they do over their farm.
Okay,
So my last question, what's the total length of this road that you're looking at approving? Are you just looking at the bottom section or are you looking the whole thing all the way up?
Just the bottom section past the second curve. So if you see it, it curves over the creek, which is a 12-foot section, and then it curves again as it goes to straightaway up the rest of it up. So we're looking around the second curve and up maybe another 100 yards is what we would need.
1,550 feet is what I get.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Singer. Is there anyone else that wishes to provide public testimony that hasn't already spoken?
Greg also spoke and.
Yeah, he didn't use time, but I would give you the opportunity. Mr. Wagner, if you cut your comments pretty short, if you wanted additional time, you could have it. And same with the Tyndalls. No. Okay. Then
Last call.
last call for public comment on the 6-year road program. Not seeing anybody. So my question will be, we will continue until we make a decision. Do we want to leave the record open for written comments? We typically do. So, okay, then I would entertain a motion to that effect.
Yeah, you usually pick a date,
Yeah,
Yeah.
until, as far as for
written comments.
written comments.
Well, that's what I don't mind the motion, but do we want to pick a date before we make the motion?
We can close on, yeah, you don't have to have making a decision on the plan does
Right.
not have to be tied to the same date as the comment.
Right.
No, that's
That's what
good.
I'm saying, pick the date before we say leave it open.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to close the 6-year road plan to further oral testimony and leave the public comment open to November 27th
Works for me.
We're
That's it. Second that motion.
at 5 p.m. At 5 p.m.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to close the hearing to further oral testimony, but leave the record open for written testimony until November 27th at 5 p.m. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
All right.
All right.
Aye, motion passed. Okay, we are done for the evening. Thank you all who joined via Zoom. Thank you, Mr. Singer, for taking the trip. You can go up to the Water Conservancy Board if you want to.
Yes, is there any place to eat?
Vending machine halfway down the hall.
No,
That's
There's 3 places on the main.
On the main
Yeah, there's a
street.
new
Pretty-
steak place.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Mike said.
The honky tonk.
Oh, he calls that a steakhouse, the honky
Walk
tonk.
that way.
Oh, it's Tuesday. Are they open?
Yeah, they were open at
Right
lunch.
over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this next block.
Yeah.
Next block over.
I'd even after. Family service.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, good
All right,
seeing
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Gordy.
Thank you.